and this is our project Home Truths, Postcards Unsheltered. And it's a bunch of postcards handwritten by people who either are experiencing homelessness or have done so in the past. I think there's a few things, the aim. One thing is people's voices, having a platform for people to speak directly and say what they want to say to the people of Melbourne, and to send a message in their own words and in their own handwriting. So I think that's really important. And also it's about, from the other side, from the reader's side or the audience's side, it's about, there's a lot of us and them around homelessness, and it's terrible. It causes so much destruction and pain and damage, and there's a lot of people being dehumanised and discounted and not recognised as equally valuable to other human beings. So I wanted to try and, in a very small way, try and invite people to think about other human beings and to connect with the messages, and then to sort of identify and feel some kind of emotional connection. So it's sort of about trying to change attitudes a little bit.
My name's Sean M. Whelan. I was very, very pleased to be asked to be involved in this project. I do feel like a little bit of a fraud's maybe not the right word, maybe blessed that I haven't experienced homelessness in the way many people have, and that I've never slept rough. I've been, I was permanently house and pet sitting for like 5 years. So strictly speaking, I didn't have a home, and that definitely had its challenges because it wasn't going from one to another. There were big gaps where I had to find somewhere to stay. Well, I do have a very beautiful friendship circle, so they were very supportive of it. But it's just a very important topic to me, because I feel like homelessness is something that's misunderstood on a very deep and profound basis. Yeah. I think they're seen as the other. They're seen as like something that couldn't happen to you, and like I read some of the leading statistic of homelessness people is women in their 50s now, you know, and people sort of see them as you know, like drug addicts and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, that's how I see that's misunderstood. So we were asked to write, we received a postcard in the mail, which is lovely, asked to write it on the postcard and send it back to Meg. I actually had no idea how it would be presented. I didn't realise it'd be in my own handwriting, like the actual postcard. I thought that would be like then typed out or something. So I really like that touch, that it's actually in people's handwriting. It's really quite personal. Yeah. Seeing them come together is incredible, because they're different voices, they're coming from different perspectives, different handwriting. It's just such a joy to see, yeah.
I feel like it's amazing to see all the different stories. Like, we all interpreted the task differently, which also reflects the experiences of homelessness. They're all very different, and a lot of the time it's painted with the same brush. Like, a lot of people say, oh, you must have slept on the streets. I've never slept on the streets. There's no shame in that, but that's not my story. And a lot of people would make that assumption. If I ever did share, they would like fill in the gaps for me, wouldn't even let me tell my own story, because they had such strong assumptions. And I think this breaks that down as well. And in mine, I don't even talk about really like sleeping on the streets necessarily, but I talk more about my situation, which was a lot of couch like hopping and staying with like friends and family, which is how most young people experience homelessness that I've met and that I've interacted with. And so I want to tell that story and kind of highlight that, because again, didn't want someone to assume that every one of our stories are exactly the same.
To be of the world but not in it. To be ghostly invisible, but only because of those that choose not to see. It's easy to think that it couldn't happen to you. And it's easy to avoid the discomfort of knowing that it can. That's happening right now to somebody somewhere. There's a place for us, truly. There's enough food, water, shelter to go around. There always has been. Anybody tells you otherwise has something to profit from the perception of absence. Everybody deserves a sanctuary where they can be still, unburdened by fear, where they can turn off the noise of the world and dream, dream, dream.
My name is Debbie Rice. I live in the city, but I was homeless for 10 years a long time ago. Moving them on, it just doesn't help. It just means they've just got to find another spot. So, I don't know, maybe they could get together with other organisations and organise housing and support. You've got to have support, because some street people, it's a revolving door. They get somewhere to live, but they don't like it. I don't know why either. Maybe it's lonely. Yeah, and they've probably forgotten what to sort of do. Domestics are sort of a pattern, aren't they? Different pattern than what you do on the street. They probably think, oh, what am I going to do in these four walls? Well, I work at the Big Issue classroom, so I talk to students, either primary or secondary, different program for each, about homelessness and disadvantage. So it's good that people will grow up with a bit more knowledge, I hope, and they'll have a bit more, I guess, empathy for those that are homeless. People that don't have a past often come from jail or have had something very dark in their life. I was very naive, even sort of middle class when I was homeless, so I didn't understand all this stealing and you know, that part of it. Well, I was in rooming houses, so it's in those particular things. And I know a lot of people that prefer the street than the rooming house, because they don't have as bad sort of, I don't know. I've just written about a scary postcard, how it would be when I was in one of these places. I think it was launched. There was a really young girl across the hall from me that was living under the bridge before she was in Hanover, and I just thought how scary that would be. And so I've just written about being stalked and, you know, trying to find somewhere that's safe. And homelessness is very scary. If you haven't got somewhere to live, it's easier for people to find you.
One person has recently become housed after 20 years of homelessness, and he's just over the moon, and he's really excited because now he can lay all his stuff out, and he's fixing stuff. He's like making a lot of stuff and building shelves, and he's really happy about that. So he writes about having a home. The theme of domestic violence and family violence comes up a fair bit, as that's reflected in the realities and the statistics around homelessness as well, which is terrible, and we need to do something about that urgently. Stigma as well, and talking back to stigma, that's partly what this project is about. Like, there's one from BYT who's a fellow who's sleeping rough in the streets. Just to let you know, not all homeless people are the dregs of society. None of them are the dregs of society. That's what I'm sure he means, but that you think. And we are someone's father, mother, brother or sister. So don't judge us from the way we look. We are people whose story would make you think. So stop, say hello, and get to know us. So, but there's everything here. There's something for everybody to read and hopefully to connect with. There's even one that's it just describes what it's like to be homeless, and that's Helen's perspective on it, and it's just a big scribble in the middle representing the feeling, and then the words around it: invisible, vulnerable, terrified, overwhelmed, abandoned. So there's some really, and Lynn's written about her dream home, so people have explored the idea of home, all sorts of things. So it's really, really diverse, just like we all are as human beings. Okay, we're in, I'm not sure how to say it, but McIlwraith Place. We're just off Burke Street. opposite to landmarks are Pellegrini's, Espresso Bar and Paperback Books, just down from Parliament. So that'd be nice if we have some politicians stroll down during their lunch break and have a little bit of a read and get to hear from people who are Melbourne residents and their constituents who have or are experiencing homelessness. So we're in a little alleyway, and this is a billboard, but also there's posters circling around the inner suburbs of Melbourne, or lots of popping up here and there, and they've got a different layout. They've got 3 postcards on each poster, so they'll also be outside of the CBD for people who aren't in the city, and hopefully people will spot them out there in the wild.
I mean, there's so many things that need to be tackled at once, which I think is why it's such a complex issue. So yes, it's access to housing in all its different types, but it's also income and access to jobs. It's access to services. I think also everyone says, oh, we want to connect to real stories. They're right here, like they're everywhere, yet people still say, oh, we don't understand, we don't know anyone who's experienced homeless. I'm like, seriously? Like you don't know, like anyone? Most of my friends who are female and who are older are saying that they're scared of becoming homeless. I know so many people in so many walks of life, people who you wouldn't expect, because there's no one type of homeless person. And so I think it's really fascinating that we're still having these conversations around and around. Like, we need to understand the issue. We do. We need to meet the people. They're here. We need to hear the stories. Again, come and read them. I think that's just an excuse, and we know how to solve it. Can we just stop going around in circles and actually do something?
Yeah.
Yeah.